Today I'm making new countertops for my kitchen. I'm going to show you guys how to make new countertops. Here is our existing countertops. We are going to change the color, the edge, and we're going to change the sink to a stainless steel sink to match the existing appliances. We are also going to put in a new backsplash, a tile backsplash. The first thing I do when making countertops is I cut up some tempered hardboard into 2-inch strips and I glue it together over the countertops so I know exactly how big the countertops need to be. Goes up to the wall so I know where to cut it at the wall and all the way up to the front. It's important to put notes on your template. Here I have a note where the sink center needs to be for the new sink and the new countertops. I also put a note here. I don't want the new countertops to stick out like these old countertops are, so I put a line where I want the new countertops to be. The next thing I do is I get my templates that I've made and I lay them on top of the sheets of material that need to be cut out. These are 12 feet long sheets of material. So I'm just going to lay the template over that and then mark it out with a magic marker so I know where to cut. The black lines are where the countertop pieces need to be. So that part right there is going to seam up to this section right there. So I'm just marking these out and then I'm going to cut them out with a jigsaw. Here is that full 12-foot section by 30 inches of countertop. I have cut out the island from this sheet of material. I'll show you the first piece that I cut out. That's the first piece of the island. And that piece will glue to this piece. And then this piece will finally glue to this piece right here. I pieced those together for the island from that big sheet. So now you can see the shape of the islands coming together. I routed the seams with a straight edge to make sure they're straight. Now I'm getting ready to glue. I glued these blocks on with this hot melt gun. I need to glue the blocks on because I'm going to use this clamp and clamp it together, and then I will level it with these little levelers. I ran a bead of glue through the seams and I clamped them together, and now they're ready to be sanded. I finished sanding the seams so there's no more glue line. The seams are now pretty invisible. I now need to flip these countertops upside down, and the majority of the fabrication is going to be building them upside down. Okay, these countertops are upside down and so are the templates. I just went through and I marked where the drop edge is, the sink is, and where the walls are. So there's where my sink center is. I made a line there. And I just made some lines where the drop edge needs to go all the way around. It's time to route the sink hole out now. I've made this jig for the sink that I bought, and I'm going to use this router to cut the hole out. I just finished cutting out the hole using this router and that 1/2 inch bit. So as you can see, it just comes right out now. And I have the sink hole ready to go for that sink, which I will undermount later. I have the drop edge cut out now for the countertops, 1.5 inches thick. And now I got to work on these inside corners, and I'm going to show you guys how to complete those. Run these corners through the table saw at 1/2 inch here and 5/8 of an inch here. Cut them out with a jigsaw or a bandsaw. You want to sand that 1/2 inch or the skinnier piece smooth. Finally, you want to hot glue them together and sand the ends, and then you clamp them up to the lines that we made from the templates earlier. I went around and I clamped the drop edge onto the lines from the templates. So that's where all the drop edge will be. This is where the seam is in the countertop. I'm going to make a seam block, just another piece of countertop material that will go there. That will keep the countertop strong and keep it from breaking in the future. Here are the actual seam blocks, which will strengthen the countertop, and I also put them on this further back countertop as well. I just finished hot melting and siliconing these strips of wood down. You want to use a 2 1/4 strips in the fronts and in the sides where the drop edge are. Then in the back where the wall is, you use 1 1/4 inches. I should also note that you don't need 2 layers of wood. I'm only using 2 layers of wood because I want my countertops to be thicker than normal. Most people do just 1 layer of wood and it's fine. This is glued down. Okay. Just finished putting the wood on the parameters, except back here I'm going to need to put wider wood because there's overhang, a 12-inch overhang where the outside is. These are all ready to be sanded. And then these are the undermount sink pieces that I glued on. Those will hold the sinks down. Before I can flip these countertops right side up, I'm going to go around the edges where the drop edge is, and I'm going to sand it smooth. As you can see, there's glue that needs to be sanded down, and it's kind of rough, and the edges are kind of sharp. I just put the stainless steel sink upside down and I'm undermounting it right now. Before I put it upside down, I ran a bead of silicone, 100% silicone, around the rim. Then I set it down and you can see some of the silicone squeezing out there. And the last part of undermounting the sink is just putting these things over and then screwing on these wing nuts. You can hand tighten them. This is the parameter, or where the panel walls to the cabinet are going to be. And then it has the overhang, the 10-inch overhang that will be coming off the back of the cabinet. I now have these countertops flipped right side up. They're ready to be routed. I now need to route off this little ledge so that it's flush essentially with this part right here. You can see the difference between routing it flush and still having that ledge. I'm going to go through and do that with the rest of the ledge on all of the countertop. Using this orbital sander with 80 grit sandpaper, I went through and I sanded smooth all of the edges so that they all blended together as well. Now is a good time to lay the template on top of the existing countertop that you're building. You want to make sure that everything's flush with the edge of the template. As you can see, everything's pretty flush. So it's going to match what my template says it's supposed to. And then here is the sink center. Everything's aligning. Should be flush. The edge of the countertop here. Here though, I'm going to need to cut so that it fits up against the wall. You can see that there's parts sticking past the template. And I made a line so I know how far to cut. I'm going to cut right up to that line so that it fits tight up against the wall, because the edge of this template is telling me where the wall is. They're ready to be sanded with the finish sander. I use a 240 grit sandpaper, so it's pretty fine. And now I'm going to polish them using the same sander, but I'm going to use a maroon Scotch-Brite 6-inch round pad. I just started removing the old countertops. I cut out that sink section, and then I can take that piece out separately and then that piece out separately by myself. Here's the sink section. Here's a before picture. Break it out of the video.
Good document.